Welcome back to Movies on the Brain, where we bring you stories of heroism, sacrifice, and unforgettable legacies. I'm Jason, and today I'm taking to the skies with Devotion. Directed by J.J. Dillard, is based on the true story of Jesse L. Brown, the first African American naval aviator, and his extraordinary friendship with fellow pilot Tom Hudner. Starring Jonathan Majors and Glen Powell, this film is a heartfelt tribute to their courage and sacrifice during the Korean War. In Devotion, we witness the incredible bond between two men who faced insurmountable odds together, and the lasting impact of their bravery. Let's dive into this powerful story and explore how it brings history to life. Devotion opened in theaters on November 23rd, 2022, with a budget of $90 million. In its 11-week theatrical run, it earned $20.5 million domestically and $1.2 million internationally, making a worldwide total of $21.7 million. Its opening weekend, which happened to be a 5-day weekend due to Thanksgiving that year, it earned slightly over $9 million, finishing number 4 in the box office behind only Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Strange World, and Glass Onion, numbers 1 through 3 respectively, with Strange World and Glass Onion also opened the same weekend. Its final week in theater saw it earn $13,698, finishing its theatrical run at number 42. In early 1950, Lieutenant Tom Hudner transfers to Fighter Squadron 32, VF-32, at Quonset Point Naval Air Station, where he meets Ensign Jesse Brown, the only black member of the unit. Hudner integrates well into the squadron, which is assigned F-4U-4 Corsairs, powerful planes with a reputation for fatal accidents if not handled properly. After Brown's car breaks down, Hudner starts giving him rides and eventually meets his wife Daisy and their young daughter Pam. The Browns are doing well but struggle with racist neighbors, and Brown has resorted to shouting racist abuse at himself in the mirror for motivation before missions. VF-32 passes their carrier test with the Corsair and transfer to the USS Late, which is deployed to the Mediterranean Sea to deter Soviet aggression. Before they leave, Daisy has Hudner promise that he will be there for Jesse. On the voyage, squadron member Mooring is killed in a crash while attempting to land a Corsair. Hudner questions why Mooring did not follow instructions, but Brown explains that one cannot always follow directions. If Brown had solely done what he himself was told, he would have stopped early in his career. He would have been stopped early in his career by many racist superior officers who wanted him to fail. The unit has shore leave in Cannes, France, where Brown encounters the actress Elizabeth Taylor on the beach and secures invitation for the squadron to the casino, impressing them. After Hudner gets into a drunken fight with a Marine who had previously harassed Brown, tells Hudner not to fight his battles for him, but simply to be there for him. Brown is given an expensive watch by Late's black crewmen who admire him for his work. The next day, the squadron is informed that war has broken out between North and South Korea, and Late is redeploying to support the South. In November 1950, VF-32 arrives in Korea and learns that Chinese troops have entered the war on the North Korean side and begun to push American forces back. The squadron deploys to destroy a pair of bridges on the Yalu Bridge between China and North Korea, though they are only permitted to fire on the Korean side of the border. Brown and Hudner fight off a MiG-15 fighter jet while the others attack the bridges, but one remains standing. While Hudner orders a retreat in the face of anti-air fire from the Chinese side of the river, Brown disobeys him and attacks the bridge solo, successfully crippling it. Hudner's after-action report praises Brown, but also mentions that he was acting against orders, which Brown tells Hudner will be used as an excuse to deny him promotions for the rest of his career, despite Hudner's attempt to revise the report. On another mission to support besieged Marines at chosen reservoir, including the Marine who had earlier harassed Brown. Brown's corsair is crippled, and he is forced to crash land in a clearing in the mountains of North Korea. Hudner sees that Brown is alive but trapped in his cockpit and deliberately crashes his own plane in the clearing in order to aid Brown. Though he puts out an engine fire, Hudner is unable to extract the wounded Brown from the wreckage, and Brown dies shortly after a Marine Sikorsky helicopter arrives to assist him. Back on Ley, Hudner's commander determines that it is too risky to attempt to recover Brown's body from the Chinese-controlled area, and VF-32, minus the injured Hudner, is instead sent to a funeral flight to destroy the downed Corsairs, with Brown's corpse still inside. Harry S. Truman. Several months later, a heartbroken Hudner receives the Medal of Honor from President Harry S. Truman for his attempts to save Brown. Hudner speaks with Daisy after the ceremony and apologizes for failing to rescue her husband. Daisy remarks that she only made him promise to be there for Jesse, not to save him, and Hudner tells her that Jesse's final words were about how much he loved her. The film ends with a note that Brown's remains have never been recovered from North America, and that Hudner and Brown's families remain close friends to this day. Now let's look at the cast and some of their other roles they've had. Jonathan Majors as Ensign Jesse Brown. Other roles for Jonathan Majors include Nat Love in The Harder They Fall, Damian Anderson in Creed 3, and Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Glen Powell is Lieutenant Junior Grade Tom Hudner. Other roles for Glen Powell include Finnegan in Everybody Wants Some, Charlie in Set It Up, and Thorn in The Expendables 3. Christina Jackson as Daisy Brown. Other roles for Christina Jackson include Barbara Lee in Shirley, Sally Ann in the TV show Outsiders, and Tanya Edwards in the TV show Swagger. Thomas Sadowski as Lieutenant Commander Dick Savoli. Other roles for Tom Sadowski include Don Kiefer in the TV show The Newsroom, Matt Short in the TV show Life in Pieces, and Jimmy in John Wick and John Wick Chapter 2. Darren Kagasoff as Bill Koenig. Other roles for Darren Kagasoff include Hunter in the TV show Red Band Society, Ricky Underwood in the TV show Secret Life of an American Teenager, and Trevor in Ouija. Joe Jonas as Marty Good. Other roles for Joe Jonas include Shane Gray in the Camp Rock franchise, Joe Lucas in the TV show Jonas, and the Kraken in Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation. Spencer Neville as Bo Lavery. Other roles for Spencer Neville include Aidan McDonough in the TV show Interior Chinatown, Dylan and Roped, and Derek in the TV show Days of Our Lives. Nick Hargrove as Carol Mooring. Other roles for Nick Hargrove include Parker Wagner Kane in the TV show reboot of Charmed, Derek in The Wrong Mother, and Nick in MFA. Boone Platt as Buddy Gill. Other roles for Boone Platt include Sergeant Grail in the TV show Black Lightning, Officer Kevin Towle in John Henry, and Roy on Swift Horses. Dean Denton as USS Late Captain T.U. Sisson. Other roles for Dean Denton include Harlan Stone in The Line, David Gillis in American Underdog, and Jim in Come Morning. Thad Luckinbill as Peters. Other roles for Thad Luckinbill include Kyle in the TV show Lioness, J.T. Hellstrom in the TV show The Young and the Restless, and Scott Norris in Only the Brave. Joseph Cross as Charlie Ward. Other roles for Joseph Cross include John Hay in Lincoln, Matthew in Licorice Pizza, and Owen Riley in Untraceable. Serinda Swan as Elizabeth Taylor. Other roles for Serinda Swan include Carla Dixon in the TV show Reacher, Kate Paxton in Redemption Day, and Chloe in the TV show Ballers. Bill Martin Williams as President of the United States Harry S. Truman. Other roles for Bill Martin Williams include the priest in the TV show Requiems, Whittington in Free State of Jones, and Lieutenant Getman in Blood Brother. This movie is an even more powerful watch the second time. It's such a great film on the first black aviator in American history. Jonathan Jonathan Majors was great as Jesse Brown as well as Glen Powell. How accurate it is, however, I'm really not sure, but if the true story is anywhere close to this, Jesse Brown was an absolute hero. I was extremely caught off guard the first time I watched this when Maureen died, followed by that amazing scene with Jesse and Tom on the flight deck. Joe Jonas was an absolute surprise to me. I knew he had dabbled in acting, but he was fantastic in this, even if his screen time wasn't very much. I think the scene with the deckhand and Jesse was absolutely necessary and well acted by both Jonathan Majors and the actor who played the deckhand, which unfortunately I couldn't find because he was uncredited. Christina Jackson as Daisy was a great choice, and her acting was perfect. I can't even put into words how much I love this movie. If Jonathan Majors wouldn't have turned out the way he was, I'd have loved to see him and Glen Powell in another movie, and him and Christina Jackson. Fantastic chemistry between both pairs. And just a little fun fact for me, if you go on my letterbox, which is the same as my YouTube, I think no, it's movies OTB. Um, you'll see that this movie is one of my very few 5-star movies. I think I've got 5 sitting on there right now. Now some fun facts and trivia. Ensign Jesse Brown was the first African American aviator for the U.S. Navy. The U.S. Navy named a ship in honor of Ensign Jesse L. Brown, the USS Jesse L. Brown FF 1089. It was Knox class commissioned February 17th, 1973, decommissioned July 27th, 1994. Wenatchee, Washington, and the surrounding mountains doubled for Korea during flying scenes. Near the beginning of the film, two F-8F, two Bearcats are seen crisscrossing the center line of the taxiway. This maneuver is done with the taildragger type aircraft due to the angle the aircraft sits, which prevents the pilot from being able to see the center line otherwise. 6 actual Corsairs were used in this movie, and many of the flying scenes used the Sea Fury plane for close-up flying sequences, according to actor and executive producer Glen Powell during an interview with Ward Carroll on YouTube. Elizabeth Taylor, who was only 18 at the time this movie takes place, actually came on board the USS Leyte during its 1950 Mediterranean deployment and was photographed visiting sailors in the ship's sickbay. The Medal of Honor that Glen Powell is wearing towards the end of the film is the actual Medal of Honor that was awarded and worn by Tom Hudner Jr. And that's it for my review of Devotion. This film beautifully honors the courage, friendship, and sacrifices of Jesse L. Brown and Tom Hudner, reminding us of the true meaning of heroism. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and subscribe to Movies on the Brain for more deep dives into stories that resonate beyond the screen. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Devotion and how this true story impacted you. Thanks for watching, and until next time, let's continue to honor the bravery of those who have shaped history.